Welcome back to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Last time we got through the Kokiri Forest, through the Great Deku Tree, and we defeated the boss, Goma, who was a piece of cake because I glitched the boss and I beat it really fast. And it was pretty skillful. Actually, it wasn't. I just pressed the button like 4 times and I won. I said there would be plot in this episode, and yeah, there's going to be plot in this episode, but I'm not going to be paying much mind to it at this point. I'm going to take this time to expand upon or talk about things that I missed last part. One of the things that I want to talk about is the heart container. A heart container is an item that only drops from bosses, and after you obtain them, you can increase your hearts by 1. So instead of having 3 hearts, I now have 4, as you might have seen at the beginning of this part or at the end of the last one. And they're completely optional items. You don't have to grab them. You could just walk into the blue portal and miss them. You know, it's possible to do a 3-heart run in this game, which is fun, I guess. It kind of makes things a little more intense, but this is an easy game. It's like pretty easy. Like I let my little sibling play the game, and this is their first Zelda game. At least the 3D version was. And they got pretty far into the game. They got a little more than halfway, I'd say, which is pretty good for a person's first Zelda game. And, you know, that just goes to show it's not a very difficult Zelda game, and it's pretty player-friendly. They didn't stop because of any particular reason. They just haven't played it in a little while. The other thing that I want to talk about is heart pieces. I mentioned the heart piece last time, kinda. I mean, I just said its name, and that's about it. But heart pieces are items that, when you collect them, you refill your hearts, but they don't add to your heart count until you collect a 4th one. Every 4 heart pieces, you make a new heart container, and that expands your maximum health by 1, which is, you know, a more useful item than the gold Skulltula collectible. I mean, you don't particularly need it. As I said, I'm pretty sure you could do a 3-heart run of this game pretty easily. In fact, I've done like minimalist runs in this game pretty easily. But, you know, they're there and they expand your health. They do more than gold Skulltulas, so, you know, I'm gonna collect them. Although it requires gold Skulltulas to get one of them, so I kind of have to get a lot of gold Skulltulas. I'll do it, whatever. The plot, I'll just summarize it. Din, the goddess of power with her flaming arms, created the earth. Nehru, the goddess of wisdom, gave the world Law and Order, not the TV show. And then Furor, the goddess of courage, gave the world life to watch Law and Order. And when they left the heavens, they left behind the Triforce, which is the super magical spinning triangles that do whatever the plot makes them do. And they're the symbol of the Zelda series. It's just 3 triangles with an upside down triangle in the center that makes people come up with a ton of fan theories, naming it the Tetraforce and stuff. It's not real, guys. Now that the Deku Tree has finished his whole spiel or whatever, he's gonna give us this super cool looking green stone that has the same design as on our shield. It's the Kokiri Emerald, and we don't know about its usefulness right now. It's not all that useful in the long run, but he's just gonna give it to us because he's a nice guy. And this leads to a bit of a sad scene, in my opinion. The Deku Tree says that he was cursed for so long, and the curse has been sapping away at his power for so long that he isn't gonna survive even after all Link is done. And that's kind of a bit sad, considering that I think, at least in lots of the Zelda games I play, there's not a lot of death happening except in Majora's Mask, but especially not the death of a a good character, kind of Link's guardian, because that's what he was. And that little bit at the end was pretty cute too. Navi kind of stays behind for a second, and Navi has a personality, guys. She's not some noisy fairy that nobody likes. I like Navi, and it kind of makes Majora's Mask a little better if you like Navi, because that's kind of what the game starts off with. But now we leave the Kokiri Forest, and before there was a guy blocking us, and he was all like, if you die, I mean, not if you die, if you leave, you die, is what I was trying to say. Which I kind of thought that it was a Neverland situation. Like, I thought when he said you die, he meant you die of old age. Like, if you leave, you'll grow up and die. Not that it's dangerous outside. Even though both are pretty scary either way. I kind of made the Kokiri Forest my safe haven the first time I was playing the game. I was afraid to even make my way to the Deku tree because there were enemies in the way, and the music was pretty effective in making me scared of those enemies. I kind of get chills thinking about it now. And I also didn't want to leave after beating the dungeon because I also know that I'm gonna die if I go outside, according to that guy. And I'm not sure if Saria knows that. Like, if Saria thinks that we're gonna die. But this scene kind of makes me think so. Like, well, actually, no, it doesn't. She just said come back to the forest to visit. So I guess Link will just awkwardly leave then. We will be coming back to the forest, just not really sometime soon. At least not in the next two parts. But for now, we get to see the big, beautiful world that is Hyrule Field. It's actually not that beautiful. It's pretty barren. There's not a lot to do. But in terms of design, it's fine. It does its job. All the things that Link needs to go to right now are on the right side of the field and kind of in this secluded area. Here's Kapora Gabora, the other character that nobody likes because he also talks a lot. The cool thing about him is you can press the B button and skip a ton of his dialogue. This is going back to what I said before about how this game is pretty player friendly and all. He's trying to steer you in the right direction being toward Hyrule Castle town, and I'm gonna get there by walking backwards. That is the fastest method of travel in this game. Rolling and side hopping are pretty fast. They can get you there before night falls, and when night falls, the drawbridge goes down so you can't get inside, but backwalking is the fastest way. When you roll, you kind of get to backwalk speed, but you accelerate and then decelerate and then stop, so you have to press the button again. And same thing with side hopping, you have to continuously do it. That means rapidly pushing the button. With backwards walking, as long as you have the control stick in the just right position, you can, walk really fast for a really long time without having to press any other buttons. If you climb up those chains on the drawbridge and jump off, you might get some rupees if you're precise enough, and if you know where they are because they're invisible. But now we have everyone's favorite room in the entire game. You got a ton of pots, and you break them, and they all have rupees inside of them. And there's rupees. You just collect a ton of money. And in this box here, there's a gold Skulltula. There's this guard here that he actually promotes, breaking boxes and jars and such. He tells you to break them because he's bored with his job and he wants a little more mischief in the world. I can respect that. I like a little mischief from time to time. But if you talk to him once night falls, then he'll say something a little more interesting. He says that he's been studying ghosts. That won't come into play soon, but it will. For now, let's just walk into town proper. This is the market. There's some pretty nice music. There's shops. There's people being all lively. Well, there's this girl that we kind of have to talk to. You can't... I might as well not talk about this now. But, in this place, there are mini games that you can play. There's one with bombs that we can't really do right now. And then there's one with shooting that we can do right now. Yes, the shooting gallery. We can use our slingshot and shoot at a ton of stuff for 20 rupees. Now, this is a pretty difficult minigame, mostly because of how crappy the control stick is, in my opinion. You have to shoot a bunch of rupees, and the rupees always come in the same order every time, I'm pretty sure. At least in this version of the minigame. There's a harder one later, where they randomize, but for this first version, they'll come up in the same order. There'll be the first green one, then the blue ones, then a green one, then blue ones, and then 4 red ones. But, it costs 20 rupees to play, but if you get 8 or 9, you can play it for free one more time. The only way to get the true prize, though, is to beat it completely, like hit all 10. And you only have 15 slingshot bullets, but I think it's pretty easy. It took me 2 tries, but if I were playing the 3D version, this would just take me 1, because I got skills. We got a Deku Seed bullet bag. Yes, there are upgrades to our items too, and the Deku Seed bullet bag lets you hold more Deku Seeds. You can hold 40 instead of 30. Oh, we're at Hyrule Castle-ish. There's no music at nighttime, which kinda sucks. There's also Gebora at nighttime though. His head is upside down. That is not how owl heads work. They can turn it around, they can't turn it upside down. Well, I'll just skip his dialogue. See, they switched the yes and the no right there. Before, no was on top and yes was on the bottom. And this time, yes is on top and no is on the bottom. Either way, though, the second option is the one you want to click to progress. Otherwise, he'll just repeat everything he said. Roll into this tree, and there's a gold Skulltula here. Right now, though, we don't want to climb that little vine on the side. We want to go back into town. Because there's some stuff we can get. We can get our first piece of heart. We have to find this pupper over here. Come here. And then take him to his owner. Maybe you saw before, but there was a lady who was not walking. She was kind of standing still, not walking her dog. Her dog just kind of ran around her in circles. But if you come into this house with the dog following behind you and talk to her, it's her little Richard. And, you know, you get a piece of heart. Completing side quests, that's usually the reward. Hearts, or maybe upgrades. Just, in general, upgrades to Link. But now we have to go back into the castle field-ish area. And there's nobody around. Or is there? There's a girl singing. It's the girl we were talking to before. If you look closely at that little brooch she has on, that's tying her little yellow Eggman cape, it has Bowser on it, which is pretty neat. And she says that her father was inside of the town, or inside of the castle, rather, and that we have to grab this weird egg and go get him. I don't know why she gave us the egg, but yeah, we got an egg. And we have to climb these very finicky vines. They aren't, you know, it's kind of hard to tell where they are. I mean, they're kind of in a straight line, but you can't tell unless you look up, which maybe I should have done in the first place, but whatever. The goal here is to not get caught by guards. But the guards are deaf and blind and they can't see you. So, you know, as long as you're not directly in, like, maybe a 20-degree cone in front of their line of sight, 20-degree triangle might be the better way of putting it. You're not going to get seen by them, even if you're rolling around yelling like a maniac. This was another part of the game that I was pretty scared of. I get scared easily, or at least I did when I was like 2, but it wasn't, you know, it took a lot of courage for me to get past this because I was scared of the guards. What if they catch you? What are they gonna do with you? At least that's what was running through my mind at that point. But since it's morning, the egg hatched from... I mean, no, the chicken hatched from the egg. I was going to say the egg hatched from the chicken. But we can use the chicken, and he'll do a little cock-a-doodle-doo and wake this guy up. This guy who is clearly Mario. He's Mario. It looks like he's Mario, at least. And now we get humor, I guess. It's not really that funny, but it's... whatever. We have to find a way to infiltrate the castle. And in order to do that, we gotta pull and push some blocks around these milk cartons. In the 3D version, at least I think it's only the 3D version because I couldn't pull it off in this version when I was doing tests and stuff. You can push only the first block up to where it's like at the ledge and then do a rolling jump off of it and you'll be able to reach that part over there no problem. But in this version, I think the only way to do it is to push both of the blocks, like have one stack up on top of the other. It's a time saver in the other version. You don't need it if you're playing as efficiently as I am. But after you've pushed the blocks together, you just make a little jump here, and you crawl inside the water hole. And now we have a little mini game kind of thing. The music definitely sounds mini gamey. You just have to run around all these guards. They're not hard to run around. Though you are going to wait a little bit because, you know, they have patrols and such. But you can get pretty close behind them and they still can't hear you. I don't know how close I'm going to get here. Well, I guess I'll just spaz out. They get a little bit harder as you go on. Like right here, there's 2 guards. Oh my. Here they kind of try to taunt you with the rupees into collecting them. You could either go on top or go around. I prefer going around because it's faster. And then here they have 2 more guards that I'm just going to run past because they're in perfect positions. Same here. They're in pretty fine positions for me to just make a dash past. They're like right, well, they were almost inside of each other for a second there. Not innuendo-y at all. But now the camera shift changes and time stops for a second and we get into this castle courtyard with a bunch of pretty flowers. Not that pretty, actually. And in this little area, well, you get to look inside and see some portraits of lots of Mario characters and such. Well, you can't see one from right here, but there's Bowser, Peach, Luigi, Yoshi, and Mario. And 20 rupees if you hit it with a slingshot. You could also hit the other window with a slingshot, but it's not going to give you a very nice reward. A guard will pop out, and he'll throw a bomb, but he won't, like, take you out. Like, you're an intruder. You shouldn't be here. Anyway, next time, we'll talk to this girl.